Coming up on News Watching, the Jets look to find a replacement for their star quarterback.
The Lunar New Year becomes an observed holiday in New York.
And Apple has also unveiled their brand new iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max.
All that and more on News Watching tonight.
Apple today debuted iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max, designed with aerospace-grade titanium that's strong yet lightweight to deliver Apple's lightest Pro models ever. The new design also features contoured edges and a customizable action button, allowing users to personalize their iPhone experience. Powerful camera upgrades enable the equivalent of 7 Pro lenses with incredible image quality, including a more advanced 48-megapixel main camera system that now supports this new super high-resolution 24-megapixel default, the next generation of portraits with focus and depth control, improvements to night mode and smart HDR, and an all-new 5x telephoto camera exclusively on iPhone 15 Pro Max. A17 Pro unlocks next-level gaming experiences and pro performance. iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max will be available in 4 stunning new finishes, including black titanium, white titanium, blue titanium, and natural titanium. Pre-orders begin Friday, September 15th, with availability beginning Friday, September the 22nd.
Republicans are voicing outrage at the Biden administration's decision to carry out a prisoner exchange with Iran, accusing Joe Biden of paying a ransom to a world state sponsor of terrorism. The administration notified Congress on Monday that it has proceeded with the agreement, which involved issuing a waiver that will give Tehran $6 billion in oil revenue that the U.S. had frozen through sanctions. Under the agreement, the administration will free 5 Iranians under detention in the U.S., and in exchange, Iran will release 5 Americans who have been detained by Tehran.
5 former Memphis police officers involved in the deadly beating of 29-year-old Tyree Nichols have been indicted by a federal grand jury, according to court documents filed Tuesday. The 5 officers, Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin III, and Desmond Mills Jr. and Justin Smith, were charged with 1 count each of excessive force and deliberate indifference, and 2 counts of witness tampering. All 5 men are also facing criminal court charges in Shelby County, Tennessee for second-degree murder, aggravated assault, 2 counts of aggravated kidnapping, 2 counts of official misconduct, and official oppression. Each has pleaded not guilty to these charges. Officials with the Department of Justice are scheduled to hold a news conference at 3 p.m. local time to formally announce the federal charges against the 5 former officers. Google has exploited its dominance of the internet search market to lock out competitors and smother innovation, the Department of Justice charged Tuesday at the opening of the biggest U.S. antitrust trial in a quarter century. This case is about the future of the internet and whether Google's search engine will ever face meaningful competition, said Kenneth Dinser, the Justice Department's lead litigator. Over the next 10 weeks, federal lawyers and state attorneys general will try to prove Google rigged the market in its favor by locking its search engine in as the default choice in a plethora of places and devices. Google could be hobbled if the trial ends in concessions that undercut its power. One possibility is that the company could be forced to stop paying Apple and other companies to make Google the default search engine on smartphones and computers.
The Lunar New Year will now be observed in all public schools in the state of New York following legislation signed by Governor Kathy Hochul. Hochul said the new law is important because it recognizes New York's Asian American and Pacific Islander communities. The Lunar New Year celebrates the first new moon of the lunar calendar and will take place on February 10th. This year, the holiday is celebrated primarily by the Chinese, Vietnamese, and Korean diasporas and all other East American cultures. The legislation, which Hochul signed on Saturday, amended the education law to include the Lunar New Year as a public school holiday, which means classes will not be in session that day. And taking a look at sports this week, in what was one of the biggest NFL matchups in Week 1, the excitement from Jets fans around Aaron Rodgers was quickly crushed when he suffered a season-ending injury. After 4 snaps in their game against the Buffalo Bills on Monday, Rodgers was carted off the field and did not return. It was announced on Tuesday that Rodgers had in fact torn his left Achilles, slotting him for a 4 to 6 month recovery time. While the Jets did win the game in overtime off a 65-yard punt return, they will now have to rely on backup Zach Wilson for the remainder of the campaign.
Micah Parsons joined the chorus of observers confused as to why Daniel Jones wasn't pulled for his own protection from the Giants' historic season-opening loss to the Cowboys. With Parsons leading the charge, the Cowboys sacked Jones 7 times and constantly pressured the New York quarterback in Sunday night's 40-0 blowout. But despite the lopsided score and their inability to handle the Dallas pass rush, the Giants kept Jones in the game until their final possession, a decision that drew widespread criticism. It's called protecting your guy, something I thought the Giants should have done, Parsons said Tuesday on his The Edge with Micah Parsons podcast. I don't think Daniel Jones should have been in that game in the fourth quarter. I thought they should have protected him and pulled him out. Barring injury, their season would be over without Daniel Jones, Parsons continued. Jones struggled in his first regular season game since signing a 4-year, $160 million deal in March. He completed just 15 of 28 passes and had 2 passes intercepted while being harassed throughout by the Cowboys, who pressured Jones on 55% of his 42 dropbacks.
For 5 years running, the Atlanta Braves have been on top of the NL East, and Wednesday evening, they made it 6 when they beat the Philadelphia Phillies 4-1. The NL clinch of the NL East title comes off a league-leading 17th win by pitcher Spencer Strider, who helped the Braves secure the division in just 146 games, the second quickest in the divisional era. Although the Braves got booed off the field in Philadelphia, that didn't make the win any less sweeter for them, celebrating on the field and spraying champagne galore in the visiting clubhouse. They will head into the MLB playoffs looking for their second World Series win in the past 3 years. How about those Braves, Chris? I mean, my dad was a Braves fan. It's fitting for them. Good celebration there.
They've definitely been a powerhouse in the MLB the last couple of years, Ray, but really tough time to be a New York Yankees and Mets fans. They've been struggling. Giants and Jets, the Jets won their first game, but, they lose Aaron Rodgers. The Giants get absolutely blown out. Tough time to be a New York sports fan.
And the Yankees as well. I mean, we can't all be winners here in New York.
Coming up on News Watching, Ithaca College student riot at the lack of parking spaces on the South Hill.
And Dan Fox hosts a roast of everybody in this godforsaken class.
Stay with us.